Greetings, Masters, and welcome to Ballin on a Budget, episode number 2. Today we are going to be talking about Robin Hood, the Nameless King. Robin Hood is a 3-star archer with 6,715 attack and 10,187 hit points. His attack is quite low when compared to the other 3-star archers currently available, such as David, Kid Gil, and Uriel, as well as Billy the Kid, but what he lacks in attack, he does make up with by having a good chunk more hit points than all of his 3-star counterparts. Taking a look at his deck, he is running a quick arts buster deck, which means that coupled with his NP, he can pull off an arts brave chain. He has 3 hits on his quick, 2 on his arts, 1 on his buster, and 3 on his extra attack. While he does have 3 hits on his quick, the 8% star rate is very poor and will not be generating you a ton of stars. So if you are looking for a star generating archer, well, sorry to say, Robin Hood is not your guy. Now, he does have 2 hits on his arts, coupled with his 0.87% NP gain on attack. It's not the most amazing loadout for an arts-based archer, but this will do him some favors, however, in preparing his tactical nuke of an NP. Currently, as it stands in NA, Robin Hood only has 2 skills, with a 3rd skill coming in the Strengthening Quest set number 4. Now, as of this recording, we are on the Strengthening Quest set number 2, so we do have a little bit of time before Robin Hood will be getting his 3rd skill. But let's hop into this. Sabotage A is a 5-turn AoE damage over time with an attack down attached to it. So not only are you doing damage, but you are reducing their attack. Now, at first glance, this may not seem like the greatest. 2,500 damage over 5 turns isn't too strong. Reducing enemies' attack by 5 to 15% is good, but it's not game-changing either. The cooldown of it is 5 turns at max level, which is nice though, as you can keep the attack down on the enemy for 3/5 of the time, and you are keeping permanent poison on them. However, remember, let's take note of the poison effect because it's important, and we will go over that later. Golden Rule E. While Robin Hood's Golden Rule is E rank, much like my luck, this skill is a welcome addition as it boosts Robin's NP generation, which is very important for him. His NP generation isn't the most amazing to begin with, and this definitely brings a little bit extra to the table. Robin Hood is an archer with a solid star absorb, so having this and getting a crit while being Golden Rule boosted will net you some very amazing NP. It does scale quite well, going from 12% at rank 1 up to 30% at rank 10. If you do max this out at rank 10, it will have a cooldown of 6 turns, meaning that you will be able to keep this up and generating that extra NP 50% of the time that Robin Hood is out there. So, as stated earlier, the next skill is not currently available in NA, but let's talk about it anyways. May King B. This skill provides a 1-turn dodge, which brings some much needed survivability to his kit. It also gives a sure hit for 1 turn, letting you bypass dodge. And lastly, it provides 10 crit stars at rank 1 and 20 crit stars at rank 10. With a cooldown of 6 turns at max level, this rounds out Robin Hood's kit very well by providing the needed survivability as well as allowing for some good burst damage with the stars. His passive class skills are Independent Action A and Magic Resistance D. Now, this will increase his critical strength by 10%, making those stars that he is picking up do even more damage, and the Magic Resistance D is a nice little touch. Now, his Noble Phantasm Yubo, it's an arts-based Noble Phantasm that does between 900% at NP1 all the way up to 1,500% damage at NP5. The overcharge effect increases the damage of the NP if the enemy target is poisoned. Remember Robin Hood's first skill, the 5-turn poison? Yeah, this boosts Robin's NP damage to absurd levels, giving him an additional 200% at base and 250% at max overcharge. And you probably just hit it for a couple million damage. And even if you do miss the poison buff, let's say debuff resistance, you didn't get sabotage A off, this NP is by no means a wet noodle and dishes out very respectable damage even without the overcharge buff. So moving on to Robin Hood's Ascension materials, we're looking at, you're going to need a bit of extra Dragon Fangs for him, which really aren't too hard to pick up. You should have a plethora of Void Dust. The Snake Jewels may be your hardest part out of these. If we look at the skill materials, you're looking at even more Snake Jewels. You're looking at 12 seeds and 14 plumes. So his skills are a little intensive to level. It's going to be a little bit of an investment in order to get him skilled up. So now let's hop into craft essence suggestions. In the last video, I had a lot of people say, Shogun, I want to know the free-to-play, very low-level friend point craft essences, as well as what if I, threw in a few gacha rolls, maybe I got lucky, maybe I got some 4 stars. So I'm going to go over both the free-to-play friend point summon ones, as well as some of the 3 stars that you can get from the gachas, as well as a couple of 4 stars. This way it gives you a good idea of what you're looking for in the future, as well as what you could be getting right now. Now, the first one that I want to go over is Dragon's Meridian, and these ones right here are going to be based on getting the starting NP up. Having a limit broken Dragon's Meridian will allow you to start off at a 50% NP gauge. This means that after just a few arts cards, maybe some crits, you should be well on your way to having an NP available. Now, the next one is going to be Reupload Temple. And what this does is this one's a little bit of a hybrid. This one increases your NP strength by 15%, as well as your starting NP gauge by 30%. So not only does this start you off closer to having your full NP, but it also gives you 15% more damage when you finally get to knock that off. Imaginary Element is a very fantastic one to put on. Even just base, you are getting 60% at the start of the battle. Now, the next set of craft essence suggestions. Now, this is to increase NP damage. Now, you will see that Reupload Temple is on here as well. That is because that is a very good hybrid card, and if you have that available and you have that limit broken, I would actually suggest that one because it gives you both of the items that you need, the NP damage up as well as the starting NP. But let's talk about some of the other ones. You have Dragonkin. This at base increases your NP strength by 15%, and at max limit it will increase your NP strength by 20%. Now let's say that you got lucky on your gacha rolls and you were able to pull an Angel's Song. This increases your NP damage by 25%, and max limit broken increases your NP strength by 30%. So this is very good. There are other things like Black Grail, Heaven's Feel if you're very lucky and you can get those. Those are fantastic. Now, the next one I'm going to go over is NP Generation. We're looking at Sorcery Ore. This increases NP gain by 15%, and Limit Broken, increases it by 20%. And this one is available out of the Friend Point Gacha, so this should be pretty easy to limit break. So this one is very good if you want to turn him into an NP spammer. So you have that one, and you have Divine Banquet. This increases NP gain by 25%, limit broken 30%. So if you were lucky enough to pull this and you want to turn him into an NP spam monster with his arts cards and a good arts team, this would be one of the ones that you would want to go with. Now let's talk about just a baseline arts up craft essence selection. So I know everybody says, oh, black keys, Yorokobe Shonen, but the Azure black keys do give you an 8% increased arts card effectiveness and 10% at max limit broken. This includes his 2 arts cards as well as his Noble Phantasm. So that is 10% damage across the board for all of his arts abilities. Now, if you're looking at a 4-star option, you have projection. This increases it by 15% and 20% respectively if you are able to pull that. Now let's say you got super lucky and you pulled the 5-star formal craft. This gives you 25% straight out the gate. So this is also another fantastic craft essence that you can run on him to just increase that Noble Phantasm. So now that we have craft essence suggestions out of the way, let's take a look at servant recommendations. So low level star team suggestions are Mozart. First off, Mozart is mainly here for his powerful arts buff, which can let Robin Hood deal a lot more damage, as well as increase your effectiveness as an arts team. His last skill, however, after the strengthening quest, does produce a bunch of stars, which Robin Hood will gladly use. So Mozart is a very good team member to put together with Robin Hood. Now the next one, and this will go back to Ballin on a Budget episode 1 and one of the low level servants that I think that you should level up absolutely as soon as possible. This is Hans. He is basically a mini waiver. His NP gain is huge. His NP buff is amazing. His crit stars are amazing. His critical increased damage just helps out Robin Hood even more to create even more damage. Get that NP up there. He is a phenomenal support servant for Robin Hood and just in general. Now, next up is Hohenheim. I think that he pairs up very well with Robin Hood as well. He does have a lower level arts up than Mozart. However, his arts up lasts for 3 turns. With his arts deck, you're going to be getting a lot of arts chains between Robin Hood, Hans, and Hohenheim. Personally, I like him a bit more than Mozart, but that's personal opinion. So let's get into my opinion on Robin Hood. Now, the strong side is that he has pretty good survivability after his strengthening quest. However, like I said, we won't be getting that strengthening quest for a little while. He does have a pretty decent pool of HP, which, will help keep him alive. He has a pretty decent NP gain. If you use Golden Rule E and you're hitting some crits, his NP gain is going to just be even better. He has a very, very strong single target Noble Phantasm that you can just blow things up with. Now, as always, with the pros come some of the cons. He does have a pretty low base attack. He's not really that helpful to the team. He doesn't really have too much in the way of team buffs. Sabotage is good, but the attack down isn't game changing. He has really bad star gen. You're gonna have to rely on Hans basically to get the stars in order to feed Robin Hood. Now, with all of that said, I do think that if you are looking for a very, very good single target nuke archer, Robin Hood is your guy. So with that said, guys, that is episode 2 of Ballin on a Budget. This was an overview of Robin Hood, and I hope that you got a lot out of this. If you did, let me know in the comments. And up next is going to be Hohenheim. Huge shout out to all of the Patreons who help support this channel. It really means a lot to me. And if you would like to support the channel, go ahead and hit that Patreon link and sign up. You do get some goodies on that, but you can also support the channel just by hitting that subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so that you are notified when I do put out new videos or when I stream, stuff like that. You can join the Discord, join the Twitter, and just make sure you comment down below because I always enjoy reading what you guys have to say. Anyways, I will catch you guys next time. Take it easy. Peace.